Today we look at vertical and horizontal lines. First point, all vertical lines have equations of the form x equals a. The gradient of a vertical line is undefined. Let's take a look at this. First question, what is the value of x at this point on the x-axis? Hopefully you told me 1. What is the x value at this coordinate? Also 1. This one, still 1. This coordinate, still 1. So we can see that all of these points which are forming a vertical line, the x value is 1. So we can actually say that that vertical line is x equals 1. What if I had to go into the negatives on the x-axis and I put a dot at this point over here? What is the x value at that point? Hopefully you told me negative 5. How about this point? Negative 5. This one, still negative 5. This one, still negative 5. That one. Okay, we see a pattern. So if I connect all those points and I form a vertical line, we can see that the x value is negative 5. Now for the one that confuses a few students. What is the x value at the origin? Hopefully you told me 0. What about the x value at this point? Still 0. This point, 0. How about below the x-axis? At this point, x is 0. This point, x is still 0. So what we should notice, on the y-axis, we have a graph with the equation x equals 0. So you should always remember another name for the y-axis is the x equals 0 axis. Now, for the second point, the gradient of a vertical line is undefined. How is that so? Well, we know that gradient is the change in y over the change in x. But now, as we can see, there is no change in x for these vertical lines. The x value always stays the same. Now, if there is no change in x, we will have change in y over a 0 for the change in x. But we know that we cannot divide by 0. If we ever divide by 0, it is undefined. And that is why the gradient or slope of a vertical line is undefined. Let's take a look at horizontal lines. These lines have the equation y equals b. Y is equal to any value. The gradient of a horizontal line is 0. Let's check this out. So our first point, how much is y on the y-axis at this point here? Hopefully you told me 1. How much is y at this point? 1. That point, 1. That point, y is still 1. Y is still 1. So we can see all of these points are forming a line with equation y equal to 1. But now what happens if I went below the x-axis? How about at this point over here on the y-axis? What is the y value? We should say negative 4. How about the y value at this point? Still negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. So all of these points, they are on the line y equals to negative 4. We know that any horizontal line has the equation y equals to some value. But what about our x-axis? At the origin here, we have the y value of 0. What about this point over here? Still 0. Over here, 0, 0, 0. So what we are seeing is, along our x-axis, the y value is always 0. So another name for the x-axis is the y equals 0 axis. How is it that the gradient of a horizontal line is 0? Let's look at our slope formula. In all of these horizontal lines, the vertical change, the change in y is 0. And we have 0 divided by the change in x, but we know that 0 divided by anything is 0. And that is why the gradient of a horizontal line is 0. Progress check. Have a go yourself, then check your answers with mine. First up, looking at the green horizontal line. Horizontal lines are y equals lines. Where does it cross the y-axis? At 1. So that is the line y equals 1. How about the orange line? Again, the orange line is a horizontal. So we know it is a y equals line. Where does it cross the y-axis? At -3. That is the line y equals -3. The vertical blue line. That line is crossing the x-axis at -2. So we know that is the line x equals -2. How about the red vertical line? That vertical is crossing the x-axis at 4. So that is the x equals 4 line. On the right side, write the equations of all 4 lines. So first, we look at this green line. Now, as we can see, that green line is on the y-axis. All vertical lines are x equals lines, and we should know that another name for the y-axis is the x equals 0 axis. How about that horizontal orange line? That is on the x-axis, and we should know all horizontals are y equals lines, and because it's on the x-axis, it is the y equals 0 line. Our red line, what is the equation of that? So looking at the gradient of our red line, we go down 1 and across 1. So the rise is -1, it's a fall, and the run is +1. That means our slope is -1 divided by +1, which is -1. We go through the origins, our y-intercept is 0. That means our equation of our red line is y equals -x. If you said -1x, that's also okay. The blue line, we have sloping uphill, so we know that that will be a positive slope. And each time we are rising 1, so that's a +1, and running +1 as well. So that is a slope of +1 over +1, which is 1. So we can write the equation as y equals 1x, or simply y equals x. And that's a wrap for today, guys. Hey guys, this is Casey at Onetree. If you like the content, please remember to like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like some online tutoring, please email me at onetreemath@gmail.com. Cheers.